All right. Yeah, so I cut my hair off. Yeah. Let's start off with that. Damo, what episode?
105.
105 episodes.
What episode?
105. That's a lot of hour and a half shit talking. So, all right, tonight we've got Ben Fothergill on. That's how you say your last name, right? Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah. All right, so how are you? I haven't seen you in ages.
It's been a long while.
Yeah.
I'm not too bad.
Will you make sure you talk into the mic?
Coming up to the end of the year, got my second last DJ gig of the year at Joe's tomorrow, so I'm kind of excited about that.
Lucky. Joe's is such a cool place.
I know, it's amazing.
It's
I
literally...
I love DJing.
It's just an icon in Perth in a way.
It's an icon that's only really been around for, like 5-6 years?
Yeah. Like
it feels like he's been there for a lot longer than that.
That's it, yeah. Because, I would have guessed 7 years, but
yeah.
Damo, pull it up if you can. Yeah, he's onto it. Jamie's onto it.
I've been going there regularly for years, and to be hired there has been cool. It's actually kicked me into DJing other kind of mediums because I've been just USB the whole time, and then when they asked me, they just pulled me. The manager Ariane pulled me aside and went, "Oh, do you want to DJ here?" Because I had been let go by Lucy's at the time.
Yeah.
And she pulls me aside and goes, "We'd love you to DJ here, but it's vinyl only." And I went, I better go crate digging,
right?
No.
Did he have a stack of vinyl at all at that time?
At the time, I probably only had about 10 records.
Okay, yeah.
I used to actually have a bigger record collection, but my sister cheekily, I lent them to her, and then she moved to Melbourne, and they went with her. So
lovely. Just go searching for a
Neverland siblings, like stuff that you really treasure like that.
So how did you get into DJing? Where did it all start? Because you specifically play rock music, and I know you play really good rock music. So where did all of that start from?
It actually started about 10 years ago. I moved into this really cool house in South Perth on top of this hill, and it was surrounded by mansions, but it was the derelict arty house, the ones that all the uni students come live in.
Yeah.
Right on top of the hill, and I was paying something ridiculous, like $70 a week.
That would have been awesome.
But the big thing was that my housemate was the DJ at Amps.
The DJ.
Yeah.
Shout out Eddie if you're watching.
Yeah, Eddie Electric. He was the DJ for about 7 years, I think.
He was there for a long
7 or 8 years. He was a DJ, and I was living with him for about 4 of those years. The last 4 of his 4 or 5 years of his tenure at Amps, I was his housemate. So
did you guys ever have wicked after parties and stuff like that at all?
I'd find I would have really good after parties, because what would happen is that I'd just be on stage with Eddie, and Eddie would be sitting there really concentrating on the music. He was playing off CDs, so he had to really be thinking 3 songs ahead, so he was not flipping through his book.
Yeah, his wallet kind of thing.
His wallet going, what am I paying next? He had to really be on top of his game. While I was just up there going, woo, getting the crowd to
get on the beers, party and stuff.
I was what you would probably call the big up guy, jumping up and down behind him, going everyone dance.
It would have been so much fun though. Because Amps back then was just wild back in the days.
It was ridiculous. The line, now Amps, of course, is same bar, still there, but it's the bar behind Magnet House.
That's it. Yeah.
And the line that they have for Magnet isn't even as big as that line that they used to have for Amps. So if you've ever been there, the laneway that goes down, it used to go all the way down the alleyway
Around the
and
corner.
then round the corner.
Yeah, past the kebab shop.
Yeah. and living with the DJ, like the best thing wasn't the getting in for free. It was walking, like strutting past
That's
the
it,
whole
right?
crowd and being like, I'm on the door. Like,
Yeah, that's what I used to love so much. Going there with Andre as well. And just like, yeah, I'm going to Capital. You guys have fun. I'll see you in there.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was always packed. And for someone that grew up with indie rock, like that was the genre I loved. I graduated like kind of the height of indie rock back in the mid 2000s, and to come to Perth, I just moved to Perth only a year earlier. I'm born here, but I lived over east.
Whereabouts over east?
Well, I actually grew up in my high school years in Queensland.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In Noosa, and I went to a school called Sunshine Beach High.
Sunshine Beach. Lovely.
It was exactly like it sounds. It was a bit like Neighbours or Home and Away.
Oh, really?
Kind of more like Home and Away. Actually,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
surfing was a subject.
Really?
Yeah.
If a school was surfing's a subject,
Yeah,
that sounds
like,
alright.
Yeah, I was like a surfing.
Well, is that
That's the valedictorians.
Yeah, that's a bit of more updated
yeah.
school uniform, but yeah, went there from exactly like that's what I mean. It's
That looks like a pretty cool school. Like,
so yeah, I kind of was really into my indie rock. And to come back and find that there's a club that is pretty much dedicated to that genre of music was refreshing, and I love going there. And I've never heard this song before because Eddie knew even way more music than me. And just hearing music that I'd never heard before, I'm going, I need to know what this song is. And that's how I actually struck up a friendship with Eddie, is that I'd pester him about,
sit there and just like,
what was
look
this?
over
What
his
was that
shoulder.
song you played? What was that song you played?
Yeah, and then write it down.
Need that.
yeah.
I really need to find that artist. And he invited me to move in with him, and we ended up living together for 4 years. So
Just an absolute rock house. But
yeah, that's so like starting off as just hanging out with Eddie on stage when I had nothing else to do, when I wasn't being a rat bag on the dance floor trying to pick up girls.
Lovely.
Yeah. I'm like I'd be on stage jumping up and down and trying to get the crowd to move, because honest, I'm also a bit of a show off. I'm a trained actor. Like, I was going to acting school at the time as well.
Really?
So for me, being on stage was just kind of like, woo, kind of,
Yeah, that's it. Like, party. Like,
party vibes and all this. And like how Eddie would teach me is that he'd be doing a 7-hour set, and he'd need to be like, I need a cigarette, or I need to go to the toilet, and he'd be like, over those 4 years, he just taught me little dribs and drabs and went, okay, this is how you do this, and this is how you mix it into this. And so that's how I learned a lot of my skills, is just from him teach me every week,
That's
like a
pretty
little
awesome,
bit,
right?
like in between me being like jumping up and down or being on the dance floor or just being completely inebriated.
That's it. It's
I'd learn a certain skill every time.
So it was like, it's like, you're jumping up and down. He's like, I need to go to the toilet, and just like grabs you and was like, oi, like,
Yeah.
your turn. Like, I'll be back. Don't stuff up.
So
And so that was on CDs then that you learned.
yeah, that was CDs. So I started going to amps in like 2008.
Wow, that's so long ago. It's like,
I was a little baby then. I would have been
it's not 12 years. That's like
I
what
would have been like 19 or something. Yeah,
14
13 years.
13, yeah, 13 years. Yeah, but still, shit, 13 years ago.
Yeah,
And being only 19 as well, I can definitely imagine you would have been full of beans, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I was going there for about 3 years before I even moved in with him, because I moved in to his house in 2012, and that I think that like 2010 to 2012 is kind of like, in my eyes, every older generation, of course, say Amps was even better before I started going there, and everyone goes, there's a height, but for me, the height of Amps was kind of like that 2010 to 2013 kind of period.
Yeah, when it's just like core indie rock and just like...
And when indie rock was still super popular, you know. And,
it's so weird with that, because it's like, it's... You know, we were talking about it just before, but it's almost like Perth's gone through, like, you know, everything's changing, but then it's like we're going back to the classics, but at the same time, it's like we're just like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's because back then, like, you know, you could go to Amps and hear Eskimo Joe and, you know, like, you know, as we were saying before, the Strokes and all the other like really like, you know, really popular indie rock bands, but to hear that stuff out and about these days, it's specific venues almost.
Yeah, and even within those specific venues, because I pretty much, that's my job, is to play that kind of music. It's even then, it's kind of dying a little bit.
Yeah.
I liken it to, there's one of my favorite films is this film called 24-Hour Party People.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I love that film. That's so
and,
good.
And halfway through the film, he turns around and goes, turns the camera and goes, so this is the end of the first act, and then he goes on to, because the first act's all about Joy Division and then going into the Happy Mondays, and he says music's like a DNA helix. It goes through peaks and troughs, and when one's peaking and then going down, another one's going up, and it's going like this. And so it was saying that certain styles will be recycled, and I'm finding that a lot of what's popular now is actually music that was kind of popular before indie rock, like that got actually like that, all that pop punk and nu metal and all that was kind of got knocked off its pedestal by indie rock is now coming back into the fore, while indie rock is just, no one's really that interested in it anymore. So it's interesting that it's right. It goes up like a peaks and troughs, but they kind of go like this, where there's like a time where it's like they kind of
crossover,
you know.
Yeah, and then the other will just take over in a way.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I kind of hope so, because like it's just, as I said, like, you know, some of those classics like that, you know, 2000 to, you know, 2010 classic rock, like, well, no, it's not even classic rock. It's just, you know, just the rock that was around at that time. It's so good. Like, you just dance to it, you can get down to it, and it's just so like groovy kind of thing.
What I liked about it was first time in a while that there was kind of intelligence to.
Don't say
that. It sounds really wanky. It does sound very, very wanky. But that there was a kind of intelligence to the songwriting. Because for 10 years before that, not bagging out pop punk and nu metal and stuff, but it was about keeping it really simple, and the lyrics were easy to understand, and just kind of a bit more like frat boy kind of rock kind of thing.
Exactly,
so,
yeah, like Blink 182,
and all that. Like, and I was a huge fan of that when I was a kid as well. But like, it was refreshing to have a kind of a musical intelligence, the music that, and everyone was getting into it at the time, and I think it's something that's kind of lacking in like modern rock music. I think it might be kind of being more superseded by rap now. It's kind of taking that banner.
That's exactly it. I don't know if you'll be able to pull it up, but I remember seeing a statistic a while ago. I can't remember, like, don't quote me on this, but that
rap music is now more listened to than rock music.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was like, I always say it's just as a joke, but I think it was like 2012 or 2013. But I always just say, as soon as Nicki Minaj released Super Bass, that's when it was like hip hop just took off. It's like hip hop. It's pop music, but it's hip hop kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it was actually the biggest export out of America, which used to be country rock and rock and roll.
Yeah.
But then now it's all just gone hip hop and mumble rap and all the other crap that's gone with it.
That thing that I think you'll always find that what's popular might not be the most intelligent music, but that you will find very intelligent. Like there are some very cool rap artists, and there's still some very cool rock artists.
That's it, yeah. See, a good friend of mine's always said to me, it's like when a new genre or a new thing kind of like hits the scene, like, you know, when hip hop, like, say, like, for example, trap music.
Yeah.
Like when trap music first came out, it was kind of just like noisy in a way, but you have to sift through the shit to find the gold kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then after like a few years of it being like, this is the new trend, this is the new genre that's at clubs and this and that, that's when like the really good stuff starts like emerging in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, you know, it's like pioneering this new genre to be able to make it more like, you know, more listenable, I guess you could say. Like,
well, that's the thing. Well, I think that's kind of what kind of killed indie rock in a way, is that you started out with like bands like the Strokes that were keeping it simple but smart. And then the more that became bankable, the more that the record labels started investing in bands that it's kind of made indie rock kind of a little bit unbearable after a while. Like, I gotta say, by the end of it, like there were a lot of bands that I was just going, oh god, like,
Well, see,
is
like,
this what's kind of cool now?
but that's exactly it, though. It's like when you compare things like Eskimo Joe to Two Door Cinema Club, they're like, it's still indie rock, but it's completely different stuff. Like, it's like Two Door Cinema Club's like pop music almost, pop rock. But it still falls underneath that sort of same category. Same thing with like the Wombats and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And, you know, Wombats is like, you know, it's an Australian band, and they got quite a few good hits.
Wombats?
Really?
English.
Really? They're English?
Yeah.
No way. I thought they were like from Perth or something.
No. Wombats are definitely very English.
Oh, no, sorry. Sorry. I'm thinking of Blue Juice. Yeah, Blue Juice. Yeah. Wombats are definitely English. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. My bad. Yeah. But that's it. See, like, look, as Damo just pulled up, just before, English indie rock band.
Yeah.
In 2003 when they formed, but that's like the way things have changed now. It's like, you know, have you ever listened to a Techno Fan by them at all?
No.
So that it's very poppy. Like, it's very poppy song.
Like that thing, I will play Wombats. I never really got into Wombats when I was like really into indie rock. I think I was when you young, particularly when you're in high school, can be a bit of a music snob. I know I can be a bit of a music snob.
I can agree with that. It was like, nah, this is better. Like, what are you talking about?
I remember another thing that's really popular. It's getting more popular now. Is emo, and I DJ for a lot of emo nights. Never liked emo when I was in high school, and I grew up in the peak of emo when like my chem were like the big thing. And I remember dressing very much like an emo because all my friends were emo, and I had the skinny jeans and the hair that you couldn't really see through.
See, I'd say that's more punk though, but it's almost like punk got adapted by emo's just like, nah, that's emo now. Like,
well, that's the thing. I'd be walking down the road and I'd have someone yell out the door like, oh, fuck you, you emo faggot. And I wouldn't take any offense to that except for the emo part. And be like, I'm not an emo.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm an old school punk. And have a big cry over that. And that's what I mean by like music snobbery, and that like I've gotten a bit older and I've come to appreciate certain music that I probably wouldn't have liked when I was a teenager. And I think that has a lot to do with DJing and opening up your horizons. Like, if you're a DJ that, like, you can be a DJ that likes only one style and will stick to that style. But in my field where I'm DJing at nightclubs for rock events, you kind of need to keep everything.
Just, the avenues open.
Avenues open, because the whole point is to try and keep as many people in the club as possible. And when you're going, no, I don't like that genre, so I'm not going to play it.
Yeah. That's when the booking agent's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So That's the thing. Like, I never was a fan of ABBA or like Fleetwood Mac or anything like that. But one of my recent gigs, I did like an ABBA versus Queen versus Fleetwood Mac night.
That would have been pretty interesting. Like, pretty cool.
It was kind of cool. Like, it was a long set. I ended up doing about 6 hours of it.
Shit.
And
wow. Okay. But like, because I had a guest on the other day, right, and they were telling me they did like it was like a Kanye and a Nicki Minaj night or something like that, and it's like they would just like rehash. That's like they play all the Kanye's hits, but then they play all Nicki Minaj's hits, and then they go back and play Kanye's hits again. Were you
No, that's the thing. I was kind of. I had a few annoyed punters. I remember this.
Because let me guess, they were like, play. Well, we will rock you. Be like, I already played it an hour ago.
Well, that's the thing. I kind of refuse to play the same song again.
Well, it's a good thing, and in my opinion, that's the way a DJ should be. Like, because like unless it's like maybe you can play it once at the beginning of the night, once right at the end of the night, or something like that. But if you're gonna go and play, Fat Bottom Girls 4 times in a night, then people are like, I've already heard this 3 times, and you're playing it for a 4th.
Exactly. Well, that thing. I remember doing a Fleetwood Mac night at Sewing Room, and there was a weird mixture of like baby boomers there. They're being like, oh, I'm reliving my glory days. And a lot of really, really young people, like I'm talking like straight out of high school, 18, 19-year-olds, getting into Fleetwood Mac because it was popular on TikTok.
That's it. Dreams, right?
Dreams was on TikTok. And
can you pull that up, Damo?
The famous video of him
on the skateboard with the cranberry juice. And it's like, and that's the thing. As soon as that video emerged, they're like, let's go on a world tour again.
Well, that's the thing. Suddenly, I get hit up going, Fleetwood Mac is suddenly really big. Can you do a Fleetwood Mac night? And I'm going, yeah, I can do it, but like I've listened to a lot of Fleetwood Mac. Like I grew up with a lot of that through my stepdad and stuff. He had a lot of Fleetwood Mac. And I was like, Fleetwood Mac is quite slow. That's it.
Like there's a lot of good tracks that they've got,
good tracks,
but a lot of it is pretty like just mellow, chill stuff. Like for example, Little Lies. Like it's not really a dance track, but it's a good song though.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of Fleetwood Mac that is really well written, very well written. But I wouldn't call them a club banger.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And it was funny DJing there. I was like told you can just put on music around that style, around that time period. So I changed to, I can't remember exactly. It would have been something like David Bowie or something like that. And then I had this woman come up to me and go, what is this? I thought this was a Fleetwood Mac night. I thought you're only playing Fleetwood Mac.
And she couldn't appreciate Bowie. Like,
yeah, I know.
What?
and I'm thinking to myself,
what?
I'm supposed to be, I started the set at 10. They were open till 3 or 4 in the morning.
Holy shit.
And there wasn't a cover band or anything. It was just me. So I'm doing...
That's a long stint.
Yeah, I'm like 5 or 6 hours of playing. I'm like, I reckon there's only about 10 or 11 Fleetwood Mac songs that people would actually off the top of their head go, love this song.
That's it. Just the Rumours album, basically. Like the Rumours album was like, one of their biggest albums. Yeah. It's the one that almost everyone listens to kind of thing. But
I remember putting on Tusk. And that's people were like, I love that song. But half the crowd were going, what is this? In the crowd. And
so
and
bad.
Also putting on Fleetwood Mac, the original Fleetwood Mac. Like the when they only had all guys and they were a blues rock band.
That's it, yeah.
And they had like Black Magic Woman and all this kind of music. And I put that on and people were like, what the hell is this band?
That's what I mean. Like, it's so weird how so many places in Perth do that. So many places do these events and stuff like that. But then, like, how can you... Like I said, like, they do a Nicki Minaj night in Kanye, and it's just, like, they just play Stronger and, you know, like, Super Bass and all the other, like, cliche tracks on repeat. But
that's the thing. I don't find that...
It's not good.
It's not good.
No.
Like, that's not how you should be DJing. Like, you should... Like... I honestly think that DJing should be half entertain the crowd and half kind of educating the crowd.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit...
No, 100%.
But, like, the crowd should listen to songs that maybe they haven't listened to before.
Yeah.
And they should go like, oh, my God, I really like this song.
That's exactly
I
it.
really like this song. I'm going to have a boogie to it. And now it's really easy. You can just Shazam if they like the song.
That's it, yeah.
And
then they just add it to their Spotify playlist and where they go. Like, I just wanted to reference something just quickly because, like, when you said the whole thing about being, you know, an entertainer, in a way, as a DJ, that's what we're getting paid to do. Like, you know, when a band's on stage, the band's rocking out, like, fling their drinks in the air or whatever, and, like, you know, wave their hair around or do whatever.
Yeah.
If a DJ's just standing there pressing play, people look at him and go, or look at her and just go, What, this is boring.
Yeah.
But if you're dancing around, you're getting drunk and doing this and doing that, like, it's so much more involving kind of thing.
I totally agree. And, like
you have to.
Well, the thing is, like, big example of that is that Amplifier, crowd are very strange at Amplifier. Half my set, because I do the Friday sets at Amplifier, and I'll start at 10, 11 o'clock at night and play all the way till 5. But I'll have, there'll be cover bands on
in between.
So I'm not on all the time. But until 2:30, I'm on the side of the stage.
Yeah.
So I'm still, like, rocking out and stuff. But the weird thing is I'll be playing music even when the band's not on, and everyone that's dancing will still be staring at the stage.
That's it, yeah. It's like, when's the band coming from?
Yeah.
But like, where's the music coming from?
And they're like, where's the music coming from? They still expect when they look at the stage, like, and that you need to put on performance. And especially true at somewhere like Amps, where they have a raised stage where the DJ, once I go on stage at 2:30, the crowd really expect me to
dance around,
put on a show. And, like, so I always build myself up. Like, maybe the first hour I'm pretty chilled, like, yeah, all right, okay. And,
you
like,
go to the
by
bar
the end of it, I'm like, all right, pump myself up. And then by the end of it, I'm screaming at the audience, pump my fists up, like, woo, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the way to do it.
Yeah,
it's 100% the way to do it. Do you find that you drink a bit at all when you go out and play and stuff like that?
Nowhere near as much as I used to.
Yeah, I'm the same as well.
I used to, when I started DJing, pre-drink, because I think I was just a bit nervous.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, a lot of people do get nervous because you're going up and standing up in front of, you know, like 100, 500, however many people it is, and you got to make sure they stay in the venue and buy drinks, right?
Yeah,
somehow. Like,
well, that's the thing, and I still think it to a degree. Like, my DJing style is to try and have that feeling of a like a house party. Like a really good house party. And if you're not on the same level as the audience,
that's it.
Then
it's hard to, like, get into that kind
get
of, like,
into the
zone.
groove.
Yeah.
And, like, I like to, I'll play crowd pleasers and stuff like that, like, to get them in the mood, and then drop something they might not know that they'll be like, wow, this is really cool, and keep them dancing. But if I drop my energy at any point, if I'm on the stage and just go, all right, I'm back to, like, doing this.
Yeah.
I can almost feel the energy on the dance floor drop off straight away.
That's exactly it, yeah.
You know, like,
and that's like what I was referring to just before. It's like, we are entertainers in a way. Like, you know, like, I've said it a couple of times in a few podcasts, but, like, things I'll do, for example, right, is, like, when I'm at Scarborough Beach Bar, I'll put a long song on. Like, I'll put, say, I don't know, Blue Monday on or something like that, right? 6.5 minute song, run down to the bar, get 2 shots of tequila, run back to the DJ booth, right? So everyone's like, where the hell's the DJ going? Like, what the fuck's going on,
You
right?
notice that the crowd do get a bit like...
Yeah, like, what's going on, kind of thing.
Like,
and then I'll put the tequila song on, and then as soon as it hits tequila, it'll be like, bang, bang. So it's like, everyone sees like, okay, well, he's ready to party.
Yeah.
I want to party, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's almost like we're jesters and as I said, like entertainers. It's like, you have to put on a show. Like, it's just part of the job.
it is part of the job. And, I can see how DJs that have done it for years might get a bit jaded of doing it every week, but it is definitely part of the job.
Yeah.
A fundamental part of the job. And it's funny talking to people that are not DJs that don't quite. They're like, it can't be that hard.
That's it.
All you're doing is
Yeah.
pressing play and fiddling with a few buttons and everything.
And then they get up there and it's like, holy shit, what do I do?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, you're sitting there. Yeah, at any one point you have to be picking the next song. And for me, picking the next song is a thought process in itself, and that I don't just skip around genres, because I'm DJing to a nightclub that there'll be one group that really wants hardcore. There'll be another group that really wants disco music. There'll be another group that really want indie rock, like, or classic rock or something like that. So it's like, I don't like to skip through genres. I don't like to...
well, it's the right way to do it as well. Like, play 5 or 6 songs or maybe 10 songs in that genre, then move to something else.
Yeah, and then have a transition. I've got about 50, 60 different songs that I call like transition songs that are like a mixture of those two genres. And that you could be like, I'm playing kind of pop punky kind of stuff, but I want to transition into indie rock. Okay, I'll put on OK Go.
Okay, go.
Because OK Go, they've got this, they're indie rock, but they've kind of got a little bit of a pop punky kind of...
this band here?
Yeah, OK Go. Like, they're famous for that video clip with the on the treadmills where they're walking with the treadmills and they go whoop under and over each other.
I remember that.
Like that.
Yeah, that was all over bloody V and like bloody MTV and everything back then.
Exactly. But like the sound of that song is
this video clip here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great video clip.
Yeah. Would have taken a lot of practice, honestly.
Oh, I know. But like it's got the same kind of energy that you find in pop punk songs, but it's still got that kind of indie rock sensibility. So I'd use this particular song as like one of my kind of transition songs that I'll be like, all right, I'll go into this from that genre, like go from indie rock to pop punk or vice versa. Or like songs like Lump by Presidents of the United States of America.
Okay, never heard of that either.
That's a really well-known song, but like that's from like the mid-90s, and that would be like a kind of, again, a transition from kind of music like Nirvana and all that kind of Pixies and all that kind of music.
Yep.
And then transitioning into like, again, like that kind of nu metal.
Is it almost grungy in a way, would you say? Because like, do you ever play stuff like Smashing Pumpkins or anything?
I love Smashing Pumpkins. Funny enough, like that's a band that was super popular when I grew up.
But then you can't play it that like you can play 1979, right?
Yeah,
because it's more chill. But you played Cherub Rock or Bullet for Butterfly Wings, and,
or Zero or something like that.
And people are like, "What's this? Like, I don't know this." Like,
That's the thing. I'm finding more and more that the songs that I play are now kind of getting if I'm losing the crowd, I have to transition into certain genres.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but that's what the best thing about being a good DJ is you read the crowd and go, okay, a few people are going to the bar. How can I get them back on the dance floor?
Yeah.
And you just think of okay, I don't know, Run DMC, it's tricky or something like that.
That's the thing. I think that is a skill that rock DJs in particular need to know. I think if you're DJing at a house gig or DJing drum and bass or something like that, most electronic music, to be honest, you're sticking to that one genre, and your skills are more in mixing the tunes together, which in itself is like a massive skill. But for a rock DJ,
it's almost different. Yeah,
it's very different. I don't do a lot of beat matching or mixing in, because a lot of the songs just end abruptly.
That's exactly it. Yeah. And that's where it's even say for example, what I do is if you try and mix an old 60s, 70s, 80s track where it's recorded analog, right? it wasn't recorded digital or anything like that. It's not in 4x4 beats. So that's when you try and mix it in, you're say for me on Tractor, I'm always queuing and moving the jog wheel just to try and keep it in time. Yeah. But it's almost impossible sometimes.
That's the thing. It's, when you've got rock bands, when you've got Record Box telling you that the BPM is this.
Yeah.
And then you're listening to the song and going,
it's
not.
Yeah, that's it. It's not 200.
The BPM is not at 162 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I've tried it. I've gone all right, I'll beat match this. This says 124. This says 123.3. I can just try and beat match it. Doesn't quite match up.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have that kind of almost computer dependability that the beat will be boom boom. You're listening to a band recording and they're not quite perfect.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But that's what I mean. It's just like what you said before, drum and bass, it's all 4x4 grids, or it's 16, or techno is the exact same, or house, or all electronic music. But when it comes down to classic rock and roll, it's seriously almost impossible. You have to literally go through it, reset the grid at a certain point, and then loop a 4-bar loop or something like that.
And that's the thing that also rock music's a little less predictable.
Exactly.
In that you're okay, here's the bridge, here's the then we're going into a fade out, and then here's the drop. With electronic music, with rock, you're kind of you kind of need to know the song.
That's exactly it.
Really well enough that when you can cut the song. If the song is too long for the set, when would be a good point to start to fade out and go into the next song.
Yep. But that's where you got to be careful as well, though. I've done a few emo punk nights, right, and I realized I can't do this anymore, but AFI Miss Murder.
Yeah.
And so reading the energy of the crowd and playing to the crowd, right? But it's with AFI Miss Murder, there's a part at the end of the song just before it goes into the heavy screamo part when it drops down, and you can actually just mix straight out of that. Yeah. But the thing is though, is sometimes it works, but then sometimes the crowd's no, we want to listen to the screamo part. So
exactly.
Then it's I've had a complaint before about that. I'm but the thing is I was playing that vibe, and I was trying to avoid going extremely heavy and try and keep that party vibe without just being full on blasting screamo in your ears.
I've learned to keep playing this song as long as possible, and read the crowd when they start to lose interest. And that's the thing. You're I get annoyed when people turn around and go, you're not really DJ, you're not beat matching, you're not doing all this, you're not mixing in three different songs. But I'm but I'm thinking about three different things at once.
Exactly,
I'm thinking about what song I'm going to play next, but also what genre am I going to mix it into next, because I can't just stay in this genre for any more than 20, 30 minutes. Depending on the crowd, if you've got only emos on the dance floor, then maybe just stay playing emo. but then you're doing that while also, as I said, reading the crowd. Who have I got on the dance floor? Have I got people that would be into this style? What kind of requests am I getting in? Because I'll get people coming up to my desk always asking for requests.
Yeah.
And then funny, they always ask for the most
cliche, well-known track,
no,
right?
they won't ask for the cliche. They'll also, you'll get the people ask for the cliche, but you also get the people, that one person that ask for that obscure song that they love, that I'll have. I'm like, I love that song, but I've got a dance floor full of girls dancing to ABBA.
Yeah, that's it.
And
you can't mix it in.
They want Rammstein.
Yeah, that's it, right? That's exactly it. Perfect example.
And they're like, I really, really want to listen to Rammstein. And I'm like, I bloody love you.
Yeah.
I love Rammstein. But at the moment, I've got a dance floor of
ABBA-loving girls.
ABBA-loving girls.
Yeah.
And if I drop Rammstein,
they're going to walk off.
They're going to walk off. Yeah. And they're probably going to walk out of the bar.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly it.
It's about juggling the crowd and trying to keep those people that like the disco, but keeping the people that also like, the heavy rock.
That's it.
In the crowd.
But it just really depends on the venue once again. It's like what I was saying before. It's like I go and play at Scarborough Beach Bar and I have to play Summer Vibes. But then like on the Sundays, it's all an older crowd. So like, I could play In Excess, Cold Chisel, Eurythmics, all that kind of classic stuff, right? But then the bar manager's like, no, we want more of like a Bali summer club kind of vibe, housey, and it's like,
this is what I find funny is that the younger crowd are actually getting into that older music.
Yeah, like seeing kids sing to Original Sin or like Suicide Blonde. I'm like, oh my god, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm finding that maybe indie rock's dead. But kind of what we called dad rock back in the day, like music that I grew up with, but like by the time I was a teenager, I was like, oh God, such dad rock. Like,
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I find that what's funny is that the younger crowd, all the people that are coming straight out of high school, are really into that music.
Yeah, which is a good thing. Like, in my opinion, that's great. Like,
and I think that has a lot to do with, as I said before, stuff like the Dreams TikTok video. A lot of people love Queen for like Don't Stop Me Now.
That's it. Yeah, and also things like the movies, like Elton John. Like like. When I went and did it's a Christmas party. It was like a year just before whenever the Elton John movie came out. But like I was just blown away because there's like mothers and families around, and there's like a 9-year-old comes up to me and is like, "Oh, can you play Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting by Elton John?" And I just looked at him and I was like, "Yes, I can. I will play that."
Yeah.
And
like I seem to get mainly requests for that now. It's either that or pop punk or emo, like if you're a bit edgier. But
edgy emo.
I find it funny that it's now like I think that there's a good and a bad side to it in a way, in that I like that the younger generation are actually getting into older styles of music, but I feel they are also at the same time not really being adventurous with what their music choices are. They will pick the most stereotypical song of that genre, of that band. Yep. And
just like the top 3 kind of thing.
Yeah, and if you don't play that particular song, then they're not going to know any other, So
that's exactly it. And that's like, I was going to bring this up, but back when I used to play at Lucy's Love Shack, way back in the day when it first opened, I got told, like, look at all the posters on the wall behind you and play all the stuff off that. You know, Kiss and Dead Kennedys and, like, all that kind of stuff, right? But it's like I play Dead Kennedys. No one knows it. But, like, Dead Kennedys is awesome. Like, really cool band.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't, like, unless it's, like, like what we were saying before, like Elton John, or like, you know, like I guess like Kiss, or like, you know, Queen, or like the popular bands. Even playing Van Halen, for example, or Iron Maiden. People don't really listen to that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Well, they do, but then it's such a niche thing.
Yeah, I find with the younger crowd, they want a sing along.
Yeah.
I even actually, funny enough, got asked by a punter on my last shift. I DJ'd on Saturday at Lucy's Love Shack, and it was dead quiet for most of the night because everyone was doing their Christmas kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But I got a crowd by about 1, 2 o'clock, and I actually had this girl come up to me and go, "Can you just play songs that we can sing along to?"
Yeah, I've had that multiple times as well.
Yeah.
And it's like when they say, "Can you play songs that we can sing along to?" You just say, "Well, what does that mean?" Like,
Yeah.
Like, what's that? Like,
Well, that's the thing. That it is different genre. Like, for instance, I think the biggest sing-along song, the song that refuses to die, is Mr. Brightside.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? Yeah.
That thing, like, talking about indie rock, like, as in, I whenever I try and get the crowd back, I'll get them back with Mr. Brightside, and then I'll hold them on, like, with indie rock, even if they don't like the song, because they will actually turn around and go, "Oh, this was similar to Mr. Brightside."
That's it. Still fits in that kind of vibe, that atmosphere, yeah.
But I kind of need to open with Mr. Brightside to get their kind of
yeah,
their attention to actually listen to the indie rock in the first place.
See, I always just try and throw that at the end, almost like, you know, second last, third last song or something like that.
Yeah,
because it's just always a crowd pleaser, but it's almost like guaranteed to work no matter what. Like,
yeah, I normally, I've got about 10 tracks that I'd call like
guaranteed.
Well, like, as in, like, if I've got a waning dance floor, these are like the ones that will get people going. If they're in the smoker, they go,
yeah, that's
drop
it.
the cigarette and go in.
Yeah,
Mr. Brightside's one. Smells Like Teen Spirit's another. Probably Queen. Don't Stop Me Now. Like, I don't like putting on, but Oasis, Wonderwall. I think that song's a bit too slow, but it gets people coming back in.
It does, yeah.
All these kind of the classic songs that everyone can put their arm around each other and go, yeah.
That's
it.
Like, same thing with even, like, you know, Come On Eileen, for example. And it's like, you put that on.
That's another one.
Everyone just gets down to it.
Yeah.
But, like, I kind of just, in a way, it's a DJ whinging, but it's like, I kind of get sick of playing that stuff all the time. Like, I've explained this on the podcast a couple of times, but people are like, you know, what's it like being a DJ and you play Friday, Saturday, Sunday? And I say, well, imagine playing Gimme, Gimme, Gimme every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, like, ABBA's cool and all, but playing that specific song every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as long as people are having a good time, it's, you know, it's all gravy kind of thing. But at the same time, like, it's Friday, all right, it's about 8 p.m. All right, I'll put it on, see what happens. And dance floor.
That thing, I definitely think that it's kind of a bit of like DJ burnout. It's like, he's saying DJ whinging, going, I have to work at this place where I get free drinks.
That's it, right? It's like, why should I win? Just like, it's pretty good.
I do remember when I first started playing regularly, and we were playing at the same venue at the same time, at Lucy's.
Yeah, because you were playing before me and stuff like that. Right? Yeah.
That's when I first started out at Lucy's. That would have been 2018.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah. I really miss playing at that place. So much.
It's kind of changed a little bit at Lucy's. The setup's kind of changed, and it's changed the kind of energy they have there. But I remember having so much energy when I first started DJing there. It helped that I was also probably half a bottle of gin down.
That's it.
Just
same
to
thing.
drown those nerves. But I remember seeing all that, getting great photos of me just like screaming at like at the ceiling and people crowding and going, and just said like. And now when I'm at Lucy's, I'm just kind of more like in a chilled because we're not DJing on stage anymore at Lucy's.
Really?
Yeah, they've made their own. They set up their own DJ booth.
Okay. Well, like
so-
on the left-hand side or the right-hand side? No, sound booth.
So if you're on the stage, staring into the crowd, it's on the left-hand side.
No way.
So this all happened. It would have happened about start of this year.
Okay. It was just a hassle though, because like the bands are on, and then trying to like get up there and put the booth up, like put the the actual table up there and plug everything in and like make it all happen. Like
they purposely made the booth in Lucy's because Lucy's wanted to reimagine their style. They had actually been waning a little bit with their numbers.
Yeah.
And at the time, Nevermind Small Club was closing down. So they saw an opening that they could potentially
try and get that disco crowd, that house crowd.
Try and get that disco and house crowd. Which I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I knew that I can DJ that style of music, but the DJs that they can get in who are friends of mine that run the raves and like Planet X, those kind of DJs and a lot of the beach rave people, they're way better than me at doing that style of music.
Yeah.
So I got let go as a DJ there, and they did a completely different setup at Lucy's. Sadly, it didn't work out because Barb's kind of...
Yeah, that's it. Barb's opened and then...
Barb's opened at pretty much the same time, and Lucy's already had a reputation as a rock and roll bar.
Exactly. To try and like full on shift that demographic, it's
quite hard
difficult.
to try and get that crowd to come to a bar that they've really never been to because they don't really go to Lucy's.
That's exactly it. They don't go to the places that are described as like a dive grunge bar kind of thing.
Yeah. Funny enough, they used to. A lot of those people that run those events used to be, funny enough, Amplifier punters. That's how I became friends with a lot of them. That they were all indie kids, but back at Amps 10 years ago. But as styles change and music taste changed,
well, that's the thing as well. Like,
to different kind of styles.
I miss the old school Amplifier in a way. Like when it had that massive smoking section, and it was the coolest thing ever. You just like go out there, you just roll a smoke and like, hey, can I pinch a lighter? And then you just start like just hanging out with this group and like socializing.
Definitely
and just...
a different, definitely a different.
It's just
energy now at Amps.
Yeah, the bowling alley.
Well, the bowling alley is, I think it's still a success for Amps.
Yeah.
They changed their demographic and debatable. They still have quite a lot of people coming into Amps. But the bowling alley is still very popular.
Yeah.
I think that it's more that Amplifiers kind of become more of an extension of Magnet House.
That's exactly it. Magnet House is the show now. Kind
Yeah.
of thing. And they've got Flight Club out the front as well now, which I haven't been to yet, but it seems pretty cool.
I haven't been there yet either. That's like a darts.
Yeah, it's they're kind of, from what I've been told, they're kind of going for like English pub darts bar.
Yeah.
So like, the darts are like the main attraction there. But then apparently upstairs is just like out of this world classic English, like varnish, like super nice, looked after bar.
It's really kind of cool that Capital Courts kind of used every little bit of that block of land that they could ever use. Because down in the basement, they've also got the Edison.
That's exactly. They've just done the whole building.
The whole building.
Yeah.
There's no square meter of that isn't a nightclub.
And that's what, like, back when Death Disco was there, I always pestered Anton. I was like, why don't they enter in the best nightclubs in the world? Because, like, most nightclubs, sure, they can hold 1,000 people or 2,000 people, or it's on a beach or this or that. But you've got a building with 5 venues in a building kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can choose where you want to go. You go down to the hip hop club downstairs. You go upstairs into Amplifier, the rock and roll venue, or you go into Magnet House. Like
Or they
disco.
go upstairs into the classic rock area.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Like I wouldn't know what the management.
It probably costs money or something silly. That's why they've just never bothered.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I still enjoy. I of course enjoy DJing and Amplify, but the energy has definitely changed from what it used to be.
Yeah.
And they did hire me to try and bring back those glory days.
Oh, really? Okay.
When I got asked, it's the event that I DJ for is Hang Me Out to Dry.
Okay.
Which is indie rock.
I love that song though. That's a
it's
track.
such a good track.
Yeah, and Blister in the Sun.
And the night was organised by one of my old friends, Josh Cutler. And then after DJing a few sets, Josh Cutler, everyone that was involved with it realised that maybe indie rock shouldn't be so much at the forefront. And maybe we should diversify into still keep it rock, but diversify into different genres. And they have, like, the first cover bands were very straight indie rock bands, and they weren't getting the crowd. And then they went, well, maybe we have to change it up to kind of cover bands of pop punk and emo and Rage Against the Machine, and then throw in the odd sprinkling of like some indie rock and stuff like that.
That's it, yeah.
But it was kind of telling that crowds kind of moved away from indie rock when I did my first DJ gig there earlier this year. And the people DJing before me were 2 members of the band Pond.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they're legends of Perth rock. They're members. They used to be members of Tame Impala, and now they started Pond. And to me, I'm like, wow, these guys are amazing. But they had no one on the dance floor. They literally were DJing to no one. And I'm in the smoking area, and I had one of the punters come up to me and go, "Oh, who's DJing now?" And I went, "Oh, have you heard of a band called Pond?" And they go, "No, I haven't." And I went, "Have you heard of Tame Impala?" And they go, "Oh, the name rings a bell, but I'm not sure."
Oh my god! When it's like Tame Impala's from Fremantle.
And then that's what I mean when I kind of freaked out at that point, because I was like, I'm supposed to be doing a 4-hour indie rock gig. And they don't know who Tame Impala is.
Yeah.
So I had to think on the fly and kind of go, okay, read the crowd, Ben, go back to the base, read the crowd, what do they want? And, change it to that style. And that's what kind of those nights have now turned into, is more a diverse range of music, and more... If there is an indie rock crowd there, and there has been a few nights that I've DJ'd there where there's been quite a few, like, particularly if the band beforehand, if there's been bands that are playing indie rock and they'll stick around, I'll play indie rock. But most of the time I'm playing pop punk and crowd pleasers.
Yeah.
Getting people just stay in amps, because... amps can be a bit of a hard one because they open their doors to Magnet.
That's it. And you get all the Magnet kids coming through.
Well, no. The problem is that everyone then uses amplifiers as a throughway to get to the smoking section.
That's exactly it.
So there'll be periods where I'll have a crowd of 50, 60 people on the dance floor. And you do one slip up. You do one song that they don't know or they don't like, and you'll lose that 50, 60 people in a heartbeat.
That's it. And they'll all just go next door.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's hard to get them back. So it's, like, amps definitely been definitely...
It's just changed, yeah.
Well, it's changed, but it's also stepped up my game in how to really read the crowd and all that kind of stuff. So.
But that's the thing as well. It's like... Because you said you've been a full-time DJ now since 2018, right? Like
yeah.
And that's where it's like... being able to just to go gig after gig after gig, then you can like, you know, you put the pieces together of like just knowing how to do it, like how to read the crowd, how to play appropriately. Because that's where it's like, I talked to a while ago. We had a couple of guys on that do like events and bookings and stuff like that. And it's like apparently the amount of people that hit them up and go, can I have a gig? You know, go, I've played a few house parties and done this and done that. But they're like, well, we've got a brand, we've got this event, and we know X, Y, and Z can do a good job. But if we give you a go, then is there a chance that you won't know what you're doing almost? Because like you're so new to the scene. And that's where it's like, you know, it's always good just to get like, in a way, just get the legends on and also get the people that know what they're doing kind of thing, that have like established themselves in the scene.
Well, exactly. That's the hard point in that.
Because it's really about who you know in this industry.
It is, because it's hard to break into the scene. Like how I got my gig at Lucy's wasn't from like, I hadn't DJ'd in a very long time. I wouldn't have even considered myself a DJ at the time when I got hired by Lucy's. Yeah, it's Mitch, who's the person who works for Pirates and runs the basic hires all the DJs for Lucy's and Jackrabbit Slims. He recognized me in the crowd one day and goes, "I know you, Ben, right?"
Just
Ben,
comes up to you and is like, "Yeah,
hey,
this guy."
Hey, we're looking for DJs. I recognize you from the old Amps days.
Yeah.
Like, would you be keen to DJ for
give it a crack? Yeah,
give it a crack. And for me, I was a bit taken aback because I hadn't DJ'd. This was what, 2018. I hadn't DJ'd properly in about 3 or 4 years. So for me, I was a bit taken aback. But he said it's who you know, but it's also what you know, because he recognised me that I'd already played for Amplifier in its heyday and been there and seen it all kind of thing. And he knew that I could pull it off even without actually seeing me DJ, you know? Because Mitch was you know this, he was hardly actually there at the venue whenever you did a set.
But I got told they could see, I think they could see through the cameras, maybe.
Spy.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, what's going on? See, that's where it's kind of interesting, because the venues I play at now, it's like with the art group, like the boss, the owner of the venues can actually see through the cameras.
Yeah.
So like, surprisingly enough, it was really shit, because on the Sunday that just went past, right, there's only like 40 people in the venue, but like I had 3 groups in front of me. I had like a group of like 6 or 7 girls, right? Had like a group of like 4 oldies, and then I had like another group of like maybe 5 or 6 oldies, right? And the thing is, like, they were all loving the music. They were really jamming and stuff like that. But then like an email got sent to the manager's office, and the email was like, why is the DJ on when there's only like 30 people in the venue? You know, like Sunday night at 8 p.m, like, you know, tell him that, you know, wrap things up. Well, so I'm like,
I had the absolute opposite. I actually had, so like DJing at Amplifier, I see this success if I can keep 20, 30 people on the dance floor continuously throughout the night.
These people were just sitting down eating their food and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a bit different though.
But like I had Jeff, who's the booker for Capital Corp.
Yeah.
And he gave me a message at 4:30 in the morning.
4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, like I was
what,
in my last, like, because I finish at Amps at 5 o'clock. Is when we kick everyone out. And he sent me a message at 4:30 in the morning going, I hear you're doing really well. Like, keep up the crowd, keep it going. Like, because I was doing well. It helped that the Magnet House had closed.
Yeah.
And I had probably about 200 people on the dance floor.
That's pretty good.
But I had them loving the music and everything that I was putting on. But to get a message from the booker going,
yeah, that's
keep
what you
up
want.
the good work.
That's what you want.
Exactly. But I was just like, what is he? Is he here? Like,
that's it. That's just like a Mario power up, like a 1-up kind of thing. Like, fuck yeah. I love it when that happens. When it's like they actually really respect what you're doing. You're trying to put in the effort and actually like try and make it work.
Exactly.
Sometimes like, you know, I was talking about this when I had the two guys that run events and stuff on. Like a lot of people just throw events and then, you know, they'll be there for the first hour and then they'll leave. And it's like, you got to know how your baby's going kind of thing. You got to make sure it's successful, or if this is happening, do something to counter it, or make sure it can survive in a way.
Yeah, and that thing, like I work with, you've had them on previously, Georgia Sassenfeld. And
yeah, she's lovely. She's an awesome girl. Shout out if she's watching.
Awesome. Like,
she knows what she's doing, and she's doing it really well.
Very, very well. I actually can safely say that they've helped me just a lot. Not really with DJing, but like just getting my foot in the door with a lot of venues. Say I had a lot of the connections to a lot of the bookers. And sorry.
No, it's all good. How many beers are you down? 3?
No, this is my 3rd.
Yeah.
Lovely. They really helped me. That like I wouldn't be a full-time DJ if it wasn't for them. They recommended me to quite a few clubs. But they're one of the event organizers that stays there for, like, when they start these events, they would stay the whole night from start to finish and watch everything. And not so much anymore. Like they trust me enough because I DJ for them for Cherry Bomb, and I used to DJ for another night we did called Troublemakers, but that is now defunct.
Yeah, Cherry Bomb's from what
Cherry
I've
Bomb
seen,
is massively popular.
Yeah.
Massively
popular. Can you see if you can pull that up, Damo? Because it's at Lucy's, but it just seems like it gets so busy. Like
it's always very, very busy.
And they have like burlesque dances and stuff.
Burlesque and drag performers.
Yeah.
What's really cool about those nights are that it's a way for a lot of the queer scene that are quite young and inexperienced to
get loose and party, right?
Perform.
Okay.
They do a lot of shows that, a lot of performances that a lot of the big queer places like Connie's and stuff probably wouldn't give them the time of day.
Yeah.
Because they're just amateurs. But a lot of performers have got their foot in the door because of Cherry Bomb.
Well, that's like what I was saying before as well, where it's almost like if they know that XYZ is doing really, really well, then, you know, like they'll keep that same thing going. Because it's like Wednesday nights at Magnet House as well. They've always got like the same girl doing the thing like where she dances in the hoop or like in the martini glass, wherever it is. Yeah. Because it's like it must be doing well if she's there all the time.
Yeah.
And like the roller skating with the limbo, it's like probably you know, they might swap out different staff for the limbo, but they know it works, so they'll keep doing it, kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly. Like, and I think Cherry Bomb's really cool. But like as said, Georgia would be there the whole night from start to finish, and she's given a bit of trust to me that she leaves at like 2 and goes, rest of the night's yours, kind of thing.
Yeah, time for her to hit the hay, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
But she probably got there, you know, like 6 p.m. or something.
Yeah. Well, even now, like she'll put me on at the start of the night and go like, "Hey, I can't get there till later."
Okay, really?
But I trust just you know what you're doing, and same with at the end of the night. You know what I mean? So
that's really good, though. That's really good because that's where it comes down to. It's building good, decent friendships, and like relationships are built on trust, kind of thing, where they know that you can do the right job, and they, you know, when it comes to these events or these, you know, parties or whatever, you know that everything's going to run smoothly, and if anything happens, text message straight away to let them know.
And that's the thing. That's why I think it can be a bit hard for unproven DJs to get
their
gigs.
Foot in the door, yeah.
To get their foot in the door, and that you're competing against people that have a lot more experienced. But that kind of trust that a lot of event organizers and a lot of bookers have on their old DJs.
Yeah. That's where it's so interesting with that, because I can imagine like over east, it's a bit more not lenient, but there's so many more venues and there's so much more. There's like double the population kind of thing.
Yeah.
So then like over here, it's almost like the people that have proven time and time again, it's like everything's fine in a way.
Yeah.
But then over there, it's like people come and go, and it's like over here, I would say it's a lot easier to be established and like more of a household name in a way, because it's such a smaller community in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And particularly with like being a rock DJ, there is only 3 or 4 rock venues.
Yeah, that's it.
In the whole of Perth.
Yeah.
What you've got Amps, Lucy's,
And
Joe's,
yeah.
and
You've got Convenience
and
now
Convenience now. So that's 4, and then sometimes Sewing Room puts on stuff.
That's it, yeah.
And other than that, you really don't have many venues that will play that style of music. At Rechabite sometimes. We've tried to put on stuff at Rechabite. Rechabite's
it's an interesting vibe there.
It's an interesting vibe.
Yeah.
Because
like downstairs in that little like rave cave, it's really, really good. But that's where they have like drum and bass and stuff like that. And then like upstairs in the rooftop, it's more like a housey, like more not poppy, but just more like lighter music. Yeah. But on the main stage, like upstairs in the main stage, you can throw whatever you want almost. I reckon.
Exactly.
But you just got to sell the tickets though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, and for a venue like that, I think the main thing that sells is house music. Like they've got some really cool gigs.
Well, house music's the next big. Well, it's the biggest thing in Perth, I'd say at the moment. It's just like it's snuck up, but it's now it's been everywhere.
It's been kind of underground for a little bit. Like, it was very much just warehouse parties, and beach raves,
and geisha as well.
And geisha, and now it's kind of become.
I blame Fisher.
Well, I think that things like Planet X and venues like that, where they've blurred the lines between a warehouse and a nightclub kind of thing.
I've never actually heard of Planet X.
Planet X is they haven't had it for about a year now. But they're always massive. They hire out what's a horse carriage racing place?
Like Raceway, or
it's a raceway, but they have this big building that they normally have Planet X on.
Is this Planet X here?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a sick website.
Yeah.
That's a really cool website.
Yeah.
Where's the menu though?
It depends, but they had the main one was at Gloucester Speedway or whatever it is, where they have it's a horse racing thing. But they would have about 1,000 people there. It was massive. They'd have about 4 or 5 different stages. And it was like a mini festival rave thing, like that would be on once every 6 months. And that kind of, I think, really helped to popularize house music in Perth. And I think that is definitely taking over from a lot of the people, my friends that were into indie rock have got into that kind of, because it's still got that kind of same feeling of, this is kind of unknown by majority of people, but it's starting to pick up steam. And
I reckon it's also because it's like a lot of venues, it's like, $20 entry or $15 or $10 entry, whatever it is, and then you have to buy drinks at the same time. Yeah. So it's like you go to these raves where it's just BYO, and you might buy a ticket, but then it's like 4 stages festival or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But like, do you know if Planet X?
Well, Planet X is not BYO.
Oh, okay, all right.
But they would still have the same in it, because the same people that would be DJing at Planet X, and the organisers be the same people that did raves in Malaga and raves on City Beach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that core crowd is still going to be the same people at Planet X, but it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of spilled out. Like the nightclubs have had to kind of catch up because they were kind of. I think nightclubs are a little bit complacent in.
It's also one of those things where, like, if the DJs only play at nightclubs or they only play at, like, do you ever find, like, if you ever play at the same venue all the time, then it's like you don't get complacent in a way, but you just know the music in that venue kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
I feel I can get like that a little bit.
Because it's like what you were saying before as well. It's like almost having to push yourself into new boundaries. But it's like, for what I've experienced, it's like when you figure out the formula, in a way, it's almost like a formula. When you go, okay, if I play X, Y, and Z, it's going to get a dance floor going, and it's going to keep the dance floor going. And as long as I stay within like this little, like, recipe, it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep working. Because like, how many times, I mean, sure, like, back in the day at Amps, you'd always get the locals that always go there.
Yeah.
But, those locals would go there on a Friday night, Saturday night or whatever, and they'd still want to hear the same music from last week, Saturday or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't be listening to it on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday or whatever.
Yeah.
But then it's like, you have things where, like, a lot of people are complaining now because it's like, well, not a lot of people, a few people I know, and it's like they want to get past this whole Veronica's stage kind of thing where it's like Untouched and stuff.
Yeah.
But Untouched has been like, it's been 2 years, 3 years now, where it's like almost everywhere you go, you'll hear that song. But
yeah, that is one of my songs that I know will
that's
pack
it,
out
right?
a
It would just pack the house. But
yeah.
But it's one of those things at the same time. It's like when you're always playing that track, the amount of people that you have the locals, but the amount of fresh faces that come to the venue. That's like, it's all about, keeping those fresh faces in the venue. So if you have to play Veronica's Untouched, you have to, right?
Exactly. And I think that can be another challenge being a DJ if you get regular work, is actually keeping that passion.
Yeah.
When you're doing the same gig every week. And I think that I've started to realize that in the last year, is that I was starting to get formulaic. Like, I was going, all right, I'm going to put on Killing in the Name of. And then I'm going to follow that up with, like, System of the Down.
Yeah.
Like, and it was almost like, and then that song is going to be like, I'd just go from, like, song to song to song, almost like I had a pre-recorded playlist.
Yeah.
But it was just me getting into a pattern that I knew worked.
That's it.
But, like, I think you need to shake it up sometimes.
Exactly,
and move out of that sometimes and not... And sometimes it'll work. Sometimes people are like, wow, like, this is really cool. Like, I haven't heard this song in years. I fucking love it. Then other times you're like, oh, cool, I had a full dance floor and now I've got no one on the dance floor because I've just done one little, like...
Yeah. Play one little 2-minute song and everyone's like, what's this? All right, see you later.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's learning from the mistakes and learning that, well, all right, maybe that didn't go down so well. But
that's part of being a DJ.
That is part of being a DJ, and I think that that is, as we were talking about before, that is also another kind of thing that new DJs need to
realize and understand.
Realize as well, because I think a lot of new DJs will be like, well, I really love this song.
That's it.
So I'm going to put it on and be like, well, if the crowd doesn't like it, then...
See, that's happened, like... Have you ever been requested Pop Smoke at all?
No.
Okay. So, like, I've had multiple requests for this guy called Pop Smoke, right? But his music is just trash. And it's always like 3 people that come up, or like 1 to 3 people that are like, oh, can you play Pop Smoke? And I just look at him like, if I play this, like, you guys will like it. And maybe like 5 other people will like it, but there's 200 people here, and it's like they're probably not going to know this, or they're going to think, oh, it's mumble rap, because it is mumble rap. But it's just, picking. It's not picking your battles, but it's just picking the right songs that you can say yes to requests to.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I try and incorporate as many requests as possible, because I like to please the crowd. But the crowd can be wankers sometimes,
because they're drunk, they're tipsy, they're doing this or they're.
Well, I remember this only happened like a week and a half ago. I had a full dance floor at Lucy's, and what I was playing was just like bangers where they sing along bangers. I was playing very generic classic rock. I then got 5 requests in a row for different hardcore songs.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, I must be getting a bit of a hardcore crowd here.
That's it, right? And then you played a hardcore song, right?
I switched to hardcore and then realized that it was just one group of friends that were really into hardcore.
Yep.
So I had a dance floor of about 50, 60 people at Lucy's. That's a packed dance floor. And then suddenly I put on hardcore and screamo, and I had 2 big groups of people leave the club, and these 5 group of friends going, yeah,
that's it.
And I'm going, oh, fuck you.
At least you made
I thought there was actually a crowd of hardcore kids. No, it's just 5 friends requesting, bombarding me with requests.
One at a time. It's like, okay, it's your turn. Go up, pester him.
Yeah, you know, like, and that thing, it's balancing, being a good rock DJ is balancing those requests with also reading the crowd.
Yeah. Because,
you want to keep the people, the punters that are into the basic stuff in, but you also want to, at Lucy's in particular, want to cater to the emo and hardcore crowd as well. So you can't continually just be playing ABBA and Queen all night.
That's exactly it, yeah.
But when it means that the bar goes from being really packed to really dead, because at the end of the day, your job is to keep as many people in the bar as long as possible and buying drinks.
Yep.
And even then, like, it also depends on the crowd. You could be doing a fantastic job DJing where you've got a full dance floor, but then you find that there's no one actually buying drinks.
That's it. Yeah.
And, like,
so you're gonna start playing stuff like shots or tequila or something.
Well, that's
like
the thing.
That.
Like, I think that this has also got a lot to do with the different events that get put on.
Yeah.
Like I got asked to put on, as I said before, the ABBA vs Queen night, and this would have been about 2-3 weeks ago. I play it, and I have a packed dance floor. Everyone is loving that I'm playing a lot of ABBA and a lot of Queen and a lot of Fleetwood Mac and a lot of classic rock, and they had this dance floor. But the crowd was predominantly 18, 19-year-old girls, and I could tell they're all just pre-drinked on passion pop.
That's it, cruises, yeah.
And because they're so young, they don't really have a lot of money, so the bar, I'm staring at the bar going, the event's supposed to finish at 3. But I'm looking at the bar and there's maybe 1 or 2 people at the bar at any one time when I've got 100 people on the dance floor. And I'm going, we're going to close early. Lo and behold, we close an hour early. And the 100 people in the dance floor went, oh, why? It's so packed. We're supposed to be here for an hour. And I went, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's the bar that actually dictates.
That's exactly it. If they're not making the sales, and they can't cover the costs, so
yeah, exactly.
That's like an issue they have with like drum and bass community almost as well, or like fast paced music, I would say.
Yeah,
because like a lot of people just buy water. Well, not even buy water; they just get water because then it's like they're dancing, they're sweating their asses off.
A lot of them are
or on other stuff.
Hey, nonny.
Yeah, that's it. Right? But when they go out and it's like, they try and cover their costs, but then they don't get the money over the bar, unfortunately. And it's unfortunate because like it can be packed.
Yeah,
but it's just other people are on substances and shit. So
yeah, exactly. And I think that's why warehouse parties kind of work in a way, because they're not expecting drink sales.
Yeah.
The whole point is ticket sales.
Yeah.
And to be honest, a lot of the organisers put it on just for a good time.
Exactly, yeah.
They
don't mind
there
if they make a
to
loss.
actually make money. Like, a lot of time they might even run at a loss.
Yeah.
But they do it as a passion project because they're really into this music, and that's why you have these big crowds at warehouse parties where you might not have kind of crowds that you have at nightclubs anymore.
Yeah,
because,
commercial venues.
Well, you think about it, it's expensive to go out.
Yep, that's what I was saying before, yeah.
$25-$30 entry, because gone are the days we could get into a place for $5-10.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Then you're buying drinks at like over $10.
Yep.
And before you know it,
Yeah,
like, I've just gone to the pub and spent $100.
Yep.
And
I mean, that is like what, 9 drinks, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a few drinks at the pub.
yeah, it is a few
Yeah.
drinks a pub. Yeah. I might be a bit of a heavyweight when it comes to that, but like,
Yeah.
but I mean, for the average punter going out every weekend and potentially spending $100-$200 in a night, that can add up. And particularly that a lot of people going to these clubs are in their teens to early 20s kind of thing. They don't really have that kind of money to spend. So it doesn't really surprise me that you'll have a packed dance floor, but the club will still close early because they've all just got pissed a fart or taken something else.
Yeah. And they're just stuck on the waters. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
We've only got like 15 minutes left, but I really wanted to segue into like what we were saying before about like Spotify and stuff like that.
yeah,
Because it's like, it's so interesting how it's like back in the day, you know, you go crate digging, or you go like, you know, you go to Sanity and you go look at CDs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you go on YouTube and like, you know, then just get YouTube downloads.
I think that it's a weird thing that I think that as I said, I graduated in 2006, and that was like in that in between period where MySpace was still really big, and MySpace you could put music onto your MySpace that you liked, and downloading music. Pirate Bay was just starting to kind of be a thing.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything like Spotify or anything like that. They had stuff like Groove Shark and like where you had to like pick a whole lot of songs and line it up, and then it would play that playlist. But then once you got out of Groove Shark, that whole playlist would be deleted.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So like it's coming from that generation where being the last ones to actually go out.
Groove Shark there? MySpace. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that is exactly right. Like having that little kind of, you'd have a list of your favorite songs and things people could be like,
this
really
guy's
identify,
cool.
be like, oh, this is what this person's really into. And I think that was kind of the last generation where that kind of real tribalism that you have in high school, it was the last time where it was like, oh, I'm a goth.
Yeah.
So I'm really into goth music, and I spent a lot of time researching the music, going and finding this music, finding the style, all that. I think things like YouTube and Spotify have kind of
just simplified it.
Well,
really.
it's made it a lot easier to find music, but it's also made people a lot lazier in exploring and trying to find music.
And all the playlists that they make on Spotify, where it's like, you know, your daily list, or like, you know, you're like the new fresh stuff, and it's like they curate all this stuff so that you stay within their box almost.
Within the box, but it keeps people still listening to certain bands.
Exactly, yeah.
And it in a lot of ways you've got access to a lot more music, but the average person actually has a lot narrower view of music, because why venture out of
into the unknown?
Like you can easily just stay within in that kind of thing, because you don't really need to really define yourself as a musical genre or anything like that anymore, or a certain style to be like, I'm part of this. You can just be like, oh, what's this? Oh, I don't like it. Skip to the next song.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
And I find that definitely now DJing the same kind of thing, that trying to even play anything that's unknown from the crowd, you can easily lose the crowd like that. And
it is just so unfortunate, but it's I've said it to a few people, but it's almost like Perth is in a bubble almost. It's like Australia's in a bubble in a way, because you go to Europe and it's so different. I mean, I've never personally been to Europe, but like from what everyone's told me about it, when it's like, it's so many countries on this one continent.
Yeah.
And it's just like they've got so many influences from so many different areas, whilst we're just an island in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, like I think that Perth has always been, horrible way of saying it, has always been a little bit basic in a way, but also like we've got this dichotomy where the mainstream can be very, very basic, and then you have this kind of very artistic crowd that make like music that's known internationally, like bands like Tame Impala and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think that is kind of always going to be the case in Perth, where you have everyone that's kind of very homogenous, and then you have this kind of underclass of people that will do their own thing, and that style will always change. For now, it is these warehouse parties and stuff. That's the kind of like
the new thing that's
the new thing, not the new thing, the rehash of what 90s culture is.
Yeah.
But like that kind of like, if you're cool and in the know, you don't really go to nightclubs anymore.
Yeah,
you go to warehouse parties.
Yeah. You got to know about them. You got to know.
Yeah, you need to be in the know,
in the group,
yeah. Like, or know a friend of a friend kind of thing. That's a cool thing. And like, I think that has been kind of a bit of the downfall of clubs like Amplifier, in that,
well, they've been around forever.
They've been there forever, but
not so much downfall.
Not downfall, but like,
they're changing to their demographic.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, and that 18 to 21s, they're not the crowd that go to warehouse
parties.
That's
it. They're too young for it.
They're too young.
Yeah.
They're the crowd that will listen to Queen and ABBA and Fleetwood Mac.
Yep.
And that's why kind of rock is, when you DJ at a rock event, a rock gig, it seems like the music taste is narrowing down to a classic kind of rock sense, in that a lot of the people that would be into interesting music are not really going to nightclubs anymore.
Yeah,
so
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that kind of fine balance, So
yeah. All right, well, that's a good way to wrap it up. So, cheers so much for coming on, Ben.
Cheers for that, Alex.
It's been a good conversation.
Good yarn.
Yeah, that's it. Just chatting, hanging out, talking shit.
I've enjoyed it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And thank you, Mr. Damien over there. Yeah, doing your thing and looking everything up for us. Yeah. So, tomorrow night we've got a guy called E-Putty, and we've got a guy called Jonathan on. And they kind of, from what I can gather, they run the glitch hop scene in Perth, which is very interesting. They've got their own record label, and it's got like 5,000, 6,000 followers and stuff.
That's kind of cool.
And so, like, they throw glitch hop parties by the sounds of it, and like events and stuff, which is like, once again, it's such a niche genre.
Yeah, I know,
it's a cool genre, and it's so out there, but like Perth is so small.
That's what I mean. Like, as we were saying before, they will throw people that want to have their own genre and actually have their tribalism. They don't go to nightclubs anymore.
That's it. Yeah.
They run their own events.
That's exactly it.
And I think that's kind of the future. That's what to do. And like,
well, it is just the way to do it these days.
Yeah,
because it's just like what we were saying before. It's just the kids that are 18 to 21. They don't, they will go to a venue and then they'll go like, "What's this? We don't know this." Like, we came here for Panic at the Disco. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, I think, I think nightclubs need to kind of catch up to that a little bit and trying to shake up the.
That's it. Otherwise, they'd be on their way out almost.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Another thing is, like, I think they should scrap entry fees for a lot of things. I've noticed whenever we've had free entry to.
Yeah, it gets a lot busier.
A lot busier.
Yeah.
A lot busier. And at the end of the day, it's about drink sales. So
that's exactly it. Yeah.
Try and get as many people in the club.
That's it. Yeah. And even with the events, it's just like they throw an event on, but then the event booker takes a cut of the ticket sales and everything like that. The club might get a bit, but it is all about drink sales. So, all right. Well, cheers for coming on.
Cheers, Alex.
Yeah, and we will see you guys tomorrow for another podcast. So, all right.
Catch you guys later.
And then Damo makes us wave at the cameras so they know we're finished. So, all right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.